The ecosystem since we arrived has progressed quite a bit. There's more discussion about it. There's more attempts to become an entrepreneur.
What are those gaps then?
I've been saying it from day one. You can't just fund a good idea and walk away from it. You have to support it.
Andreas Panayi is the founder and CEO of Kinesis Ventures.
Focused on startup investment and supporting innovation-driven businesses.
He works with founders to help scale innovative businesses and drive long-term growth.
Some people are not built to be a solo entrepreneur that builds something from scratch. So don't feel bad. Go get a good job and be entrepreneur in there.
We have always the perception that foreign imports are of more quality than what is produced in here. That we highlighted in our research that we want to tackle because it's not fucking true. Hello. Welcome to another episode of Made in Cyprus, big business story from a tiny island, or how you like to call us and how you rebranded this, Mitzi alla Ruzzi. Andreas, welcome to the show.
Great to see you. And finally, we made it.
Finally, we made it.
We tried, but we're doing it.
Yeah, me and you, we were trying to hang out with each other for the longest time. I know that you spend most of your time in New York, right?
Yes.
And a bit of the
US,
time in Cyprus as well. Do you have a clear split on how you split your year?
No, I usually what I do is 2 months in Cyprus.
Yeah.
Not in the summer, for obvious
smart
reasons. And the rest in the US. So it comes out to about four and change in Cyprus. The rest back home. That's home.
Did you grow up here or did you grow up in New York?
I grew up here. I grew up here. I think I left. I was about 14 years old. Went to Greece for a couple of years, and then I was in the US 17 years old.
Yeah,
and haven't looked back.
What brought you there?
Studying. I was going to go finish university and come back, and I went, finished university, and just never came back.
Yeah. And so mentally, how does it work having this divide, from a tiny divided island lost in the Mediterranean and a place like New York?
I gotta tell you, things change. I'm at the age now of I'm at the point that I'm getting older.
Yeah.
And you look at things differently. Early on, barely thought about Cyprus. You're there, you're just there. You just get lost in the day of a busy U.S., New York, New Jersey, whatever you call tri-state.
Yeah.
Your life, you work, and you have some life. And all of a sudden, you realize that time is past. Things happen in your life, and then I was Cyprus. So that happened to me when I maybe 2017, when I realized maybe I need to re-engage. So you answer your question is in the beginning, you just don't think,
You were fully invested into American life.
Yes, that's my life. I mean, my family is there, my wife, my son, the rest of the friends.
Was there a personal sense of rejection that I don't believe in Cyprus having potential, and then I want to invest my time here, or simply was not in your mind?
Not even, no. You just, you finish school and then, life just takes path.
Yeah.
You got a job, build a family, and then you focus on your family and your job. And then I was fortunate enough to have a great career and learned a lot, met a lot of people. I had my own exit, and once you accomplish things, you feel like you accomplished things anyway.
And when did you start the startup interest? And did you always gravitated in the startup world?
I gravitated towards entrepreneurship for a long time. I remember I got my first job, it was late 80s. And within the first week, I built my own little business cards, which I never used, but I wanted to have a consulting company on the side.
Yeah.
That didn't come to bear until 2000.
Yeah.
But it was in the mind, but not really actively pursuing entrepreneurialism. Really, I didn't even think about it as entrepreneurialism. I just thought of it as my own business.
And why did you decide to get into venture then?
You know, when I exited my business, we sold the business and we stayed with the business for a while. We did the earn out of the whole thing. So spent some time with who acquired our business. And once I was fully done and left from there, and we have another company that with my U.S. Partners we build and operated. And then all of a sudden, when this thing kicked in, like I just want to do something different. And that's when I combined coming back to Cyprus with an idea of how do I leverage what I've learned over in the US all those years? How do I leverage it to connect me with Cyprus, but also have a business because I wasn't about to retire. And that's kind of the thought. And then from a thought, it became a reality. From a reality, it became a really passionate thing that I'm doing now.
It would have been easier just to focus on US and keep doing your shit there and keep building products there. And like, why bridging the US ecosystem with the Cypriot ecosystem then?
You know, Martin, it started as a romantic notion of, you know, I want to go back and, you know, I want to reconnect after 40 or so, whatever years, 30 some years at that point. And that was in 2017, 18. And when I came back, I said, you know what? I can do both. There's a business here because of what I saw, this kind of very early-ish still, an ecosystem of entrepreneurialism, technology, passion. So, okay, I have some of that knowledge after going through early 80s all the way, you know, the growth of technology in the US. At the same time that I can re-engage. So it was almost like a duh moment.
Yeah, it was romantic though.
100%.
Yeah, it's interesting because I'm also a half Armenian, right? And Armenians is, which obviously you know because there must be a lot in New York as well.
Yes.
It's one of the biggest diaspora, right? So the Armenian population in Armenian maybe 2 million, and then the diaspora is about 8 to 9 million. So it's huge.
Similar stuff, yeah.
And I see many experienced, more mature entrepreneur that did have success externally, then there is this awaken kind of emotion on, okay, like maybe I need to go back, maybe I need to do something with my origin country, right? So there is this passion from the diaspora to go back and do something for the country, which I think is pretty much what you described as well, right?
Yeah, and it just happens, you know. And I don't know that it's a specific event or the time or the age, but it's like a switch just flips on.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you have this kind of urge of, you know, I should be giving
the itch,
you know, it's
the
like
itch
an
of home. Yeah.
And then when the thing falls together, like you get the itch scratched, and you get because I'm not gonna stop. I'm a type A. I'm just gonna keep going until I can't move anymore. And then you satisfy that, and then you satisfy giving back, and then you satisfy all those other things. Then from a romantic notion, which was the beginning, it becomes a nice combination of things, which is good.
Are you making more money now or before?
I honestly, I'll be very honest with you, I don't even think about making money right now. This is not about making money.
What is it about?
This is about building something that generates success across not only one individual, but many others. You got your investors, you got entrepreneurs, you got the ecosystem. This is the first part of my career that it wasn't driven by money, my money, meaning it is money, it's investing, but it's not done for the money. The money comes after you do a good job.
Yeah. Because New York, and the image that I have about New York is the huge hustling mentality. Work. If you make it here, you make it anywhere. Money. Network. So you had that right, did you have that mindset of the New Yorker hustler?
You have no.
There is no other way.
There is no. If you're gonna survive in a city like New York, you
Yeah.
either have it, and it gets awakened,
Yeah.
or you don't have it,
Yeah.
and you got a problem.
I cannot see further polar opposites of the Kipreo mentalities
Yeah.
and the New Yorker mentalities.
Without insulting anyone, because it's not my intent. That is why I can only do about 2 months at a time. I got to get out.
Yeah, I love Cyprus. Listen, like quality of life and safety.
Slow.
It's slow, but like for me it worked, right? Like I did burn out badly in London, right? And I think London probably is the European translation of the New York mentality, right? So you have to hustle, you have to make it. I remember I was doing 2-3 jobs, plus I was 24, going out, drinking and everything. What you want to do at 24 on ER1 in a new country, right? So I was doing it all. And that extended to a point where like physically and mentally I couldn't take it anymore. And I decided, you know what, like I always wanted to live by the sea. I didn't want to go back to Italy because it wasn't challenging enough. I wanted to do something from zero, and I decided, Cyprus. I met my girlfriend, and it's a very interesting place to live, and it's a place of huge contrast. I am busier than when I was in London, but that other opposite of a very controllable and relaxed life also really helps me having both. But yeah, the Nerhum infrastructure, we don't have the same opportunities, the cost of living is going up, so it's a balance and take. I don't think it's for everyone.
No, but there's no right or wrong or good and bad. It's but you mentioned something that makes a lot of sense. So think about it. I'm in my 60s, so speed of things may not be the same of the same interest as it was before. I don't live in New York. I live in New Jersey. It's nice and quiet. Got a place by the ocean. Got a place, our place in, up and a little further out of the big cities. But there's times that you crave the craziness, and which we go obviously to New York for meetings and for many other things. And there's nothing wrong with slow, if it's the right time for slow.
That's right.
If there's nothing wrong with crazy ass, getting out of train and rushing to get to the path or whatever till the next destination, if that's the right time for it. So when I say I can take 2 months, it's not necessarily a bad thing or a good thing. It's just that cultural change kicks in.
Out of curiosity, this is a question that I ask to everyone that comes from New York. Do you remember what you were doing and where you were at 9/11?
I was actually in a meeting, I was in a meeting in New Jersey. Our offices were actually on Chambers Street, right by the Twin Towers. I was in New Jersey in a meeting, and I had to do this. But yes, the path that I would take, the PATH train, would go under the Twin Towers. But I was in a meeting in New Jersey, in a meeting room with a TV on, showing the towers at that point. No audio. And I just remember it was a glass meeting room, like a fishbowl, and just people just going back and forth, rushing outside, but not knowing why.
It's like a post-apocalyptic movie, You see things happening, but you don't know.
Yeah, I remember exactly.
Yeah. It's a curiosity that I always have, and when people tell me that they are from New York, and I always ask them. Every single person knows exactly where they were, what they were doing, and what was going on.
Our offices were on Chambers Street, and that was the last day that we actually were able to go to those offices. Until months after.
Crazy. Listen, Andreas, let's get into the startup ecosystem. And I'm fascinated by your point of view, because obviously you come from an external. You are someone that very interestingly retains the position into this two polar opposite mindset, which I find it fascinating. Which I compare a bit like academia and work. Right, where are two polar opposites, but they need to come together. You have the New York ecosystem and the Cyprus ecosystem, again, two polar opposites, and you guys are trying to bridge them together. Mm-hmm. How is the Cyprus ecosystem looking? What is it? If you had to describe it, if you had to convince, let's say, one of your New Yorker network to tap into the Cyprus ecosystem and invest or look into it, what would you say?
Okay. So I'm going to do a couple of disclaimers.
We're going to run them over
We
under,
run them
under the
over.
video.
Run them out.
Everything that I say can be used against me, but it should be not.
Right. It shouldn't be that. So I was, first of all, I was called negative.
Yeah.
I am not negative. I'm not a pessimist. I'm actually a pragmatist. Okay. So no negativity. I'm actually one of the most positive business people that you've ever met.
Disclaimer number 1, nice, big and bold.
Right. On the top of me now, you do the next disclaimer. I'm here 2 months. I leave for 5. I come back for another 2. So my view is that it's windows, like window in, out, window in. So now let me answer your question. The ecosystem. The ecosystem, since we arrived, let's say our team, 2018, has progressed quite a bit. Progressed. What does that mean? There's more discussion about it. There's more people that know about entrepreneurialism, and capital. There's more attempts to become an entrepreneur or build a company. There's people in government and organizations that do more, sometimes way too much, than before. So there's some infrastructure more than before. So all that is very, very good. There's progress. There's events, there's things. So from all that perspective, it's progressing. Some of the progress, I think, is, this is what people call me pessimist, but I'm a pragmatist. Another disclaimer. Some of that progress or perceived progress, I think, is done for not the good of the ecosystem necessarily, not maliciously, just not thinking about it. It's done for either very specific purposes, from personal promotion to organizational promotion, to checking a box that says we did that, or we're doing that. It's not as organized. It could be further ahead than it actually is if it was more cohesive, more integrated with activity, more sharing within the ecosystem instead of competing, which is really not real competition anyway. So I think we could have been, and we could be further ahead. I don't know if that answers your question.
It's interesting. So what I hear in that is that there is a lack of integration. So would you consider it as a proper ecosystem, or is a disconnected effort from separated players with good intent, but because they are not fully integrated, the things are moving slower?
You just answered it. I just don't think it's a cohesive ecosystem.
Yeah.
There are ecosystem-like activities.
Yeah, very interesting.
Right?
Not ecosystem-like strategy.
No. There is ecosystem-like activities.
Yeah.
In my opinion. It is not a cohesive ecosystem, which as we know, like any other business or activities, if it's more cohesive, tends to be more valuable.
Yeah. It's very interesting because this is something, and me and you, we talked about it before as well, and it's something that I never truly understood. Let me put it down this way. So we are a Mitzi Island, Alainirotsi, Daxi, Xerume. We also know that it's half of the island. We also know that, right? So we already have a disadvantage in that situation. Yeah. Then, on top of that, Nicosia in a Nicosia, Larnaca in a Larnaca. Larnaca is kind of like the child in between two, doesn't know if we should look into Nicosia, doesn't know if we should look into Limassol, so it ends up being by itself alone. We have Limassol, which we know, Forex, business, fintech, payment, Russian, Israeli, etc. It's kind of like the economic and financial, let's say, interesting place to be. We have PAFO with the expans, but now the American university, the other ecosystem, some stuff is happening in PAFOS as well, and I know I've seen last year I collaborated as well. all of these are by themselves islands within an island, interestingly. And also, how many innovation places do we have? 7 or 8, isn't it?
I think it's 8. There may be 9, my friend. I don't know. Or maybe 10 soon. Who never know? You never know.
How many do we need for a place that is as small as Cyprus?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you get me going right now. So this is where these are some of the things that as I say, fry my bacon. So no offense to those that are running those centers or those that participate. I think there's very smart people.
Yeah, I collaborate with many of them. Then all of them, they have really good.
100%.
I don't collaborate with all of them, but the ones that I collaborate with, they have some really solid
Great
programs.
Scientists, great people, great passion for what they do. But if we elevate and add to what you just said, we're a small island of, well, I'm not even going to guess how many actual active business people we have in the population. But let's just leave it at that. And we've got 4 or 5 places. Let's call it our main cities. They just call them before that, as they should. They want to stimulate their own smaller economies. Then you got 8, 9, whatever centers, and the universities, and the acceleration companies, and the consulting companies, the big 5 that they need to have something.
They also have their own.
That's what I'm saying, right? So are we over diluting what we have, which then creates this non-cohesive ecosystem that instead of running on all pistons, you're running on a few here and a few there, and
all 3 of them,
right? Imagine now and we're doing some really progressive stuff for a small island, in something. Imagine what could have happened had we found a way to integrate, collaborate, collapse, and grow instead of dilute resources, funding, people, ideas, activities. Imagine. So it's not oh God, we're doing it wrong. It's, my God, we could have been doing it so much better or so much more efficient and effective. So it's not a knock. It's more, how do we step it up to the next level? Because if we stay this way, it's not going to maximize the effectiveness. Going back to how I find things, when I'm here for 2 months and I leave for 5, I come back for 2, and it's not going further. In some cases, there's a few steps backwards. So that's, I think, the frustrating.
It's interesting, and again, I always do analogies and paradigms back to my work that I do with brands and brand architecture, right? And there is a beautiful story, which is it's a bit cruel, but it's a Mother Nature story, and it's real. So there is, I think it's the Norwegian rat that once it has its litter, and the litter might be 8, 10, 15 different little mice. The mother actively decides to sacrifice 2 or 3 or 4 of them in order to give the best chance to the stronger components of the litter, right? So the mother decides to kill their own babies in order to give the best chance of success to the other ones. Now, why I'm telling that? Because this is a story that I heard from Mark Ritson, and I always use when I'm approaching a brand architectural problem, right? These big conglomerates of brands, house of brands or mixed branded house, they have 20, 25 different brands. It can get very messy. And that is a dilution of resources. It's a dilution of corporate focus, and it's a dilution of corporate strategy as well. The best potential solution is to not ask which one we should save, but ask also which one we should kill, right? In order to give the other a better chance. And I think it's a perfect analogy to the story that you said. I don't think we need that many in a place like this. And by having that many, we have dilution, resources, lack of focus, and wastage as well. And it's like, do you want to go towards one direction with one path, or do you want to go one direction with 15 different paths?
Yeah. Let's do a couple of things really, really good.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to boil the ocean all
Yeah.
at once. I'm all for vision. I'm all for lofty objective. I mean, look what we're trying to do. We came from the United States back to the Cyprus to build an investment platform. People thought we were nuts, but it kind of works, right? So I'm all for big vision, but you can't just have vision. You have to have a plan for executing the platform for that vision to be staked in, right?
Yep.
So I'm all for thinking that we're about to bring Amazon in the middle of Nicosia. I'm all for it. I hope it happens. When they come, are we going to be ready? I'm all for bringing a bunch of investors from the U.S. Are they going to find the right deals to invest?
Would they?
No, absolutely not. No offense to all those folks that are trying to, no. There's a lot of structural issues that we still have to be ready to be, from institutional investors at least, or even from big angels. So, even us, we see the same deals over and over again for the last 3 or 4 years, and they go from one acceleration or center of excellence to the other. So they'll go to this and then they go to that. So that we do a merry-go-round of deals.
Yeah.
Changing the headline with adding AI in front of it doesn't make you a different project. So no, they're not going to find the volume.
Yeah.
They'll find some gems like we do, but you're not going to find the volume to be able to sustain what we would like to think that we are. We can be, but we need to get some housekeeping first structured right to be able to bring the big vision to sit on top of it. Otherwise, it's going to collapse.
Yeah, there are a few things in there. So, it is an ecosystem that is being built on fragile foundations.
If there is foundation, I think it's fragile. In some areas, there's some good foundation in some other places, but it's not an even foundation that you can put a nice cohesive strategy on top and stick. There's gaps. And when you have gaps in your foundation, I don't think I need to tell you.
So
anybody.
let's get practical. What are those gaps then? What should we be focusing on that we are not?
A thing that I've been saying it from day one, and I still don't see it because it requires a lot of integration. It's not that people don't want to get it done. It requires integration. You can't just fund a good idea and walk away from it. You have to support it.
Yeah.
What does support mean to a young company in Cyprus other than money? Let's say we give them some money. The support, and I'm not talking operational support, all that they got to be fixed anyway, whether it's the bank accounts, I'm not dealing with that. The licenses, I'm not going there. Support means how do we help them commercialize? So, pure examples, there are some really interesting products that are made in Cyprus. And we insist in buying same products from the outside. Okay? How do you expect an investor from the United States to ask, I'm not going to mention the company because I don't want to do that. Hey, invest in company A. It's from Cyprus. They have a really good product. The immediate reaction from an investor would be, well, what's the traction? Well, we don't have any because our own ecosystem doesn't buy it.
Why?
Because they buy from somebody else.
Why?
Just because they don't pay attention to it. Just because it's not positioned the right way. Now, I'm not saying buy it because it's Cypriot, but give it a chance.
I'll tell you more on that. And I think we are going to tap into a cultural element. So you said commercialization support. Point number one, fully agree.
Traction.
I think the point of also getting investment from an investor, and I might be controversial in here, is less about the money, because I think the money you can find. It's more about what an investor can do for you in order to put you into the next step.
Lewis, that's the foundational structure of what we do.
Perfect at Kinesis, yeah.
Of Kinesis. We start with, we always have, because this is what we do. This is what we've done. This is what we do. Money, if you have a good idea, money will be found.
Yeah.
But it's not just money.
Yeah.
To your point.
Yeah.
It's the support. Now, support comes in many different ways.
Yeah.
Right? So that goes along with what we just said.
Yeah. And the other cultural, this was not really cultural, but the other cultural thing that I wanna raise is that, based on my experience, I work with lots of local and foreign brands as well. And from the manufacturing point of view, in Cyprus, we don't really know also that we do produce some really good manufacturing products as well, of equal quality to the Germans, to the Italian, Japanese, and everything. As people living in an island, and as Cypriot, and I will include myself into that as well, we have always the perception that foreign imports are of more quality than what is produced in here. German, better engineer. Italian, better design. Japanese, better technology, which that is changing as Japan is going through a pretty intense crisis now. They lost all that edge. But we do have this thinking.
Yes, we do.
And I know for a fact, because I'm working with a very important manufacturing brand of Cyprus, and that is an insight that we highlighted in our research that we want to tackle, because it's not fucking true. Mm-hmm. On a design level, on project engineering, quality, price point, and everything, we do have some really good shit in here.
Absolutely.
But we always look on the other side. Second cultural point that I want to comment for you, and you covered already initially, is the focusing on the wrong C, the competition versus collaboration, with jealousy behind it, with the fact that we want to hide our secret, that we don't want to support the others as well. So also culturally, and again, I'm stepping into the negativity, but it's not negativity, because I'm a strategist, and a lot of the work that I do is based on insight, and I have data that prove this kind of stuff. So culturally also is not very fertile place to have this type of solutions in an ecosystem.
Yes, I think so. And because we're smaller, there's jealousy everywhere, and there's fear of competing elsewhere. We do have a little bit of a culture thing, which is a little more dramatic.
Yeah.
But because you're smaller, anything when it's small, it just appears so much bigger. Right? When you have an ecosystem that in every meeting you run into the same people, or in every room you run into the same people, this standoffish, I won't say, I guess, jealousy in some ways, and desilia, as we say, which is even stronger than jealousy, is more intense, and it's more obvious. There's more there because it's always in your face, right? Which another cultural thing, which I think has a lot to do with it, is the fear of failing. You have this fear of failing. I think it's cultural still too. So, but
were you raised with that virus in your brain from your family, or?
I tell you, if I was, it got quickly eliminated. Because in big markets, in big places, in big offices with thousands of people, you're going to fail.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that that you're not worth it, or you shouldn't keep going. So what you do with failure is what it's a learning or a social aspect or cultural aspect.
Yeah.
Some people fail and crawl and into a fetus position, and that's others just get up and say, screw you, I'm doing it again. In entrepreneurialism, failure is a fact. What you do with it and how the ecosystem supports you in your failure And that's what we don't do.
Yeah, it's a very interesting conversation, and I ask you that personal question about your upbringing because I was raised by Soviet parents, right? So my mom was a very successful basketball athlete, and she got a scholarship to go and study medicine because she was a formidable athlete, and she was the captain of the European team of Estonia. She won 2 gold medals. Yala yala yala. My father coming from a similar background as well, and in Soviet there is no fucking failure.
Yeah.
And like if you want to do something in Soviet and if you do well, you will be rewarded. But everyone has to put really really strong work, and there is no failure. And I know that also kind of by osmosis, not from a malicious intent, also translated into myself and my brother growing up, right? So always try harder, do harder, work harder, which is a paradigm similar to Asian families and how Asian kids are very successful because they are bombarded with that message as well. So I wanted to understand if there is something similar into the Cypriot ecosystem as well, where parents are telling the kids, you can't fail.
Listen, without trying to be a specialist in this, but we're a cuddly kind of a society here, always has been. I don't know, I haven't lived here for long to tell you, but we're very protective and cuddly.
Well, the AI is always there.
The culture, it is so nice. There's so many nice things about that.
Yes.
But
like Cypriot families are amazing.
Amazing, right? But is there a correlation with the fact that we're cuddly? So you didn't really
the pillow being too soft.
Yeah, maybe you didn't really fail. It was something else. No, you failed.
No.
Or entrepreneurialism is not for you. Go get a job.
No.
It's okay. You don't have to be entrepreneur. Nowadays, this is another theory of mine. It's like nowadays in your regular job in corporate world, you better be entrepreneurial because otherwise you're going to be eaten alive. So you can carry entrepreneurialism in anything now, how you think.
I love that.
I
love that.
So at the end of the day, you want to be entrepreneur, you can be entrepreneur in a large organization and succeed over somebody else. Some people are not built to be a solo entrepreneur that builds something from scratch. So don't feel bad. Don't go crying. Go get a good job and be entrepreneur in there. And that, I think that's a whole different discussion that we can have on the next podcast.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. What I like to say, you frame it under the entrepreneurial mindset. I frame it under the mindset of building a personal brand that projects your true self and your true abilities in order to unlock the right opportunities as well. And I think that is important in a corporate world as well. Like, do you want to go up the career ladder and you want to step up? I think you need to also shape your image and persona in a way that you unlock that opportunity, because no one will pull you up the ladder.
Which is big parts of entrepreneurialism.
It is.
You got to do it on your own.
It is. There is.
Right?
So whether you are entrepreneurial as you're building something tangible, or entrepreneurial building yourself
to survive
in a tangible way.
I once I teach in periods of time. I do some adjunct at some universities and colleges back home, and I was teaching this entrepreneurial class, and the kids that would come in and didn't even know what entrepreneurial career is, but I had to explain in so many ways. You can sit in that chair in that class, even if you haven't dreamed of becoming your own company, because everything you learn in an entrepreneurial class will be applied in your real job in a big corporation, because that's how you'll survive. That's how you'll excel, because entrepreneurs do things on their own until they build a team. And it's no different in my opinion.
So, Andreas, you're in your 60s, obviously. You had lots of experience and lots of different stories, failures and successes and everything. And I have a feeling that AI will not fundamentally impact your professional life in a way that, oh my God, what the fuck I need to do in the next couple of years.
No, I'm good with that.
But the juniors now coming out of university, going into university, your kids, my kids, what is your view in there?
They're going to have a hard time, Martin. My son is now starting to look for for a job, civilian job. And I feel bad for all the kids, all the young people, anyone, kids or not, whatever, young people that are in the entry level positions, especially in the United States that I know the most. I'm assuming if it's not here, it will come soon. Because it's a fact. It's not a vision anymore. It's not oh my God, it's a concern of fear. It is a fact that technology is going to and is already eliminating, especially entry level positions in some sectors more than others.
Yeah.
You just have to reinvent yourself. You have to reinvent what you want to be, who you want to be, how you're going to be. But it is becoming, I believe, not a discussion point anymore. It is a fact. It's happening. The effect of it, the depth of it, all that I don't know, but we see it. We see it. It's happening.
Yeah, we don't really know what is going to shape because like we're still in the early days. But I was reading an article and they were describing this any given market, right? Currently is K-shaped, right? So the people that are on the upper part of the K, so seniors that had analogical experience or let's say technological experience but not AI driven, and they have what it takes to understand good decision and strategize. They had experience. Let's say they're a bit better set because they're already on the upper part, right? They can integrate the technology. The job safety, let's say, is on a much better situation. But people that are entering the market now, perhaps they will not be given the experience needed in order to go on the top part of the K as well, because as you said, AI is taking these less experienced jobs and those situations where people were allowed to do experience. So there is a big friction between who's already on the top part of the ladder and who's just entering the ladder. And it is pretty scary because even from the marketing perspective, there are some very good results into synthetic market research with synthetic user personas with level of accuracy which are absolutely shocking.
Crazy, isn't it?
Shocking good. So market research agencies and brands that commission 2-3 months research, that market, that's gone.
Yeah. Well, you're spot on. And as I said before, some sectors, some industries will be affected faster, sooner, deeper than others. But I can tell you, I can draw from my experience, which, as I said, back in the late 80s, I was a young man, and the internet was just popping his little head. Yes, I was in an office where computers were not even in existence. I remember our office had one computer and we took lines to go use it. And I had to...
Was it placed in a computer room?
No, it was in the hallway next to the printer because it had to be connected back then. There was
this magical little piece of technology.
There was a line. And I was one of the first guys that had a phone, a mobile phone, because I was the internet guy. I was back then. And my phone was as big as this table. It was a battery phone. And the antenna wouldn't go down, so the antenna was sticking out of my briefcase. On the train, though, I was pretending to be on the phone because it was really cool. My point is, if I saw the migration from analog to digital, which I did, I was fortunate enough to see that. The speed was slower than what we see now. The migration speed was just slower, but it was happening. But what it created for a certain time was the need for people to tell other people what to do with this technology. So even though it was shifting some industries more than others, it was creating this very interesting opportunity for some that were really smart, and they figure out how to tell other people what they should do.
Yeah. That's always the case for anything.
Right? So now, I think what I'm seeing now is that all these people, call them young or whatever, that they're starting to advise how to use all these new technologies. But they got to be faster, they got to be smarter, they got to be deeper, but it's creating, it's eliminating, it's creating. I am far from the right person to make a prediction of what this is going to be. But in our job, in what we do, which we invest in companies, we need to understand it, and we need to differentiate, what is a flash in the pan or something that will stick.
Yeah.
And that's not an easy job nowadays for anyone. But it is fun, and we are leveraging things that we've learned from our previous evolution of technology that apply as much as you can.
So if we had to summarize the going back to the Cypriot ecosystem, right? So it's fragmented. It should be more unified. Culturally, it should be more promoted into collaborating and coming together. There should be stronger commercialization support as well from the investor, from the venture as well. What else do you think that we have to focus to give this ecosystem the best chance of support? What is missing?
I think that we, and I say we, the entire ecosystem, but those that can do even better job than your basic pieces and parts of the ecosystem are those that run organizations that drive decision making, that drive regulatory structures, that drive resources, drive some of the funding that comes. Let's rally around a number of companies that we all believe as an ecosystem that would do really well.
Corporate companies or startup
companies. The corporates should be part of those organizations that support these companies that we all select as this ecosystem.
No, but how do we decide these startups to focus on then?
They naturally become the companies that we should focus on. There's no selection, there's no application. It's okay, we pick you, and you. Those that do well come to the top. It's like anything else. If you don't do well, you go to the bottom. If you do well, those that come to the top. There's no process here. There's no selection process, or there's no favoritism. Those that show the signs of successful companies that grew from the ecosystem, we should pay attention to. And then we should support them in achieving international success, then learn how to goddamn package it the right way.
And replicate it.
And communicate it. And show it off and shine it off. We can't go out and look for investors just by telling them how good we are in professional services and how good we are, because we've got great beach and wonderful sun, which is good. What are your success stories? You're a marketer, you're a brand guy, right? You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Are we packaging this the right way?
Yeah, we call it the RTB, the reason to believe.
Yeah. I mean, that's the first thing an investor's going to say. Well, show me some traction. Show me some traction that you've done. What you have done. So package them. There's some really good ones. We can have even more. So I'm not saying you play favoritism and go select those you want. No. Those that bubble up, help them, package them.
Yeah, again, focus. Right? Mm-hmm.
Focus on success.
Andreas, what is something that you know personally and professionally that you should be focusing on, but you're not?
That's a darn good question. That I'm not. I tell you what. This is what I want. Right. I really want to learn. Can I get really tactical? Code. I want to but I want to learn how to code and how to write my own agentic solution. And it's a darn good question, and it's exactly what I don't know how, but I really want.
Yeah. There is a provocation in that you don't have to learn how to code now to create products.
You have to learn at least what
good looks like.
What it looks like. Yeah, I'm not, yes, of course. Thank God. Well, for those of us that care, code will be done in different ways. but you still need to know enough
It's
to
true.
leverage what's there.
It's true. And we go back to the K-shaped problem proposition, right? So junior versus seniors. Like
Yeah.
the seniors knows what good code looks like, right? So he can use codeless platforms to vibe code a solution, but is also able to see what type of code that was written behind it. And that's why I always say to my designers and to my network and the people I'm helping and I'm coaching and I'm mentoring from the creative angle, do use
Yeah.
AI, do believe in the AI future, is not killing your job, is giving you more possibilities to make your job better, leverage it wider, stronger, faster, more interesting, with more iteration. Obviously, with a caveat, if done well. Allah, creative people are best positioned as using AI-driven creative tools because they know what good looks
Sure.
like. They have the taste and they know how to do it analogically, so to be able to replicate it digitally in the AI.
Well, think of it, it's spot on, and put it out, take it out of the AI, take it out of technology.
Yes.
As an entrepreneur, right? You'll come up with a much better company, a much better idea,
Amen.
a much better anything if you know deep the challenges and the problems that you're trying to solve
Yes.
as an entrepreneur.
Yes.
Because you know how to leverage everything else to get to that
Yes.
solution. Isn't it the same thing? So
100%.
It's not about technology. It's the more depth you know, or you can get to and know and process, the outcome for that specific solution will be, I guess at the maximum value, if you want to put value to it. So going back to your question, if I could, that's the thing that I always wanted to do. But you know what? I'm happy with what I've
I wish you get into that. And I love your last point by having the experiences to become a better entrepreneur, which goes back to what you were saying before. Like good entrepreneurs are entrepreneurs that had a chance to fail and learn from there, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times, and then the 11th times is the breakthrough moment, isn't it?
I think as long as the fuck ups are not as damaging as the success.
Yeah.
What I mean is when you put them together, there's more on the success side than the failure side. You're on the good side of the equation.
I agree.
But you can't avoid entrepreneurialism without
Yeah.
some sort of failure. How
Yeah.
many? I don't know. How deep? I don't know.
Andreas, I'm gonna finish with the last quick fire, and I'll ask you to finish this sentence that I'm starting with one word or less.
One word.
Yeah, one word or less.
All right. Okay.
We're good people, and it's also Friday.
All
so
right. Okay.
the Cyprus startup ecosystem is
Still evolving.
the biggest myth about startups in Cyprus is
That we got it all figured out.
founders in Cyprus need to
Stay focused.
investors in Cyprus should
Give it a chance.
the future of innovation in Cyprus is
It could be brighter.
Well, Andreas, thank you very much for your
Thank
time,
you. It was a lot of fun.
for being on the show. How long are you staying in Cyprus still?
End of April.
Where people can find more about you, more about Kidney's venture, follow your work, follow your thinking. What's the best
I think
platform?
LinkedIn. We use LinkedIn. I use LinkedIn a lot. So LinkedIn, and then the websites and all that stuff. But
Perfect.
LinkedIn.
Thank you so much.
Thank
you for
you.
listening. Thank you for joining us. Remember, subscribe, like, share, tell your yaya about us, tell a friend about us. Do recommend an entrepreneur or someone with an interesting story. There doesn't have to be an entrepreneurship, but we want to give a space for the people that are helping us rebrand Cyprus beyond the usual conversation. So if you know someone that you think should be on the show, you know where to find me. Send me a message and then we will make it happen. Bye. Keep innovating. Go Cyprus!